o'clock and time to start the meeting. So, boy, I tell you, we've got a good looking crowd here tonight, especially with them caps with T's on them. I wouldn't mind having one of them myself, Coach, in honor of these boys. It's great to see you, and we're going to start with our Lord's Prayer. Everybody will do that, and then the Pledge of Allegiance, then we'll get into the business. So let's stand for the Lord's Prayer, please. All together. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, power, glory, and prayer. Pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hughes?
Here.
Commissioner Mosier?
Here.
Commissioner Richardson?
Here.
Commissioner Jenkins? Here. Commissioner Steves?
Here. Okay. The minutes for the July meeting was in your packet. I hope you've had a chance to read those over. Do I hear a motion to accept?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed likewise, motion carries. The recorder has a report now on the distributions for June.
Okay. In the general fund, you'll see mayor's retirement, $28,418.25. That's your employee and your employer contributions. We also made a payment to Blue Cross Blue Shield for employee dental, life, disability, accidental death and dismemberment, as well as vision. That's $4,693.92 for the month. On page 2, you'll see the Advanced Athletic Services LLC to resurface the tennis courts and add the pickleball courts, $31,980. Toward the middle of that page, to Cigna, we paid $54,127.52 for the employee and the employer portions of health insurance for the month. The bottom of that page, Martin Pulls and Fence, we paid a deposit to have the fencing put around the Main Street Marketplace on Main Street, $9,405. That material has been ordered and is still not in yet, so we're still waiting on that to get in before the contractor can finish that job. Page 3 in the general fund, $50,000 to Rogers Group. That was a portion of the paving we did that came out of the general fund, and then you'll see the other part that came out of Station Day in another report. $15,577.50 to Spectrum Electric. That was for their work on the train car, and that was funded by the Tourism Enhancement Grant. Page 4, fuel billing for the month. It did include the school system, $13,475.98. There were flock safety payments for the flock cameras, $2,500 in the middle of that page that came out of general fund. Page 5, East Tennessee Security Solutions. We did some additional security cameras up at Englewood Park, $8,420. We also paid J.M. Mowing LLC for tree removal in the parks, $2,600. Monroe County Election Commission for the election held in June, $8,600.06. Precision Lawn Care was to spray the soccer fields and provide fertilizer, $2,232. $750 paid to Richard Jenkins for his retirement. Football purchases, they made a donation for the same amount, and then we covered purchases made by Sweetwater Youth Football to Riddle, $5,856.71. And then we transferred as a final entry for the year from the tourism fund to the general fund, $35,000. That's for the high mass lighting at the interstate. That's the portion that the tourism fund covers and transfers back to the general fund. You'll see the other side of that entry coming out of the tourism fund later on in the report. Page 6, June retirement payment, post-TCRS payment for June, $29,757.58. Again, that's the employee and the employer portions of it. The fuel bill, $10,530.38. In June, we always have multiple entries because we're paying the May bill in June, and we're also paying the June bill in June. Normally, we're a month behind when we pay it, but because that's the end of our fiscal year, we have to cram both those payments in that same month. Towards the bottom of that page, you'll see quite a few disbursements related to the July 4th Independence Day celebration, $100 to the Boy Scout troop, $700 to Chuck Norris, $1,000 to Greg Young, $400 to petty cash, which is our starting change, and then that's deposited back against in a receipt on the other side. $200 to Salt and Light, $200 to SHS Cross Country for work on the inflatables at the kids' house. Page 7, $4,000 to Monroe County Friends of Animals. That was out of the budget appropriation that we had approved. We also made the stormwater payment, $9,256 to Sweetwater Utilities Board to close out the year. And Thompson Backhoe Service, that was to tear down the home at the library where we're going to be building the parking lot, $4,400 for that project. We also made a $4,000 appropriation to Sweetwater Watershed for the creek conservation on page 8. And towards the bottom of page 8, we made a $1,000 appropriation from the budget to Isaiah 117 House. That's everything in the general fund. In State Street Aid, we paid out $213,500 to Rogers Group for the paving projects. We also did Crush Underground Construction LLC did an $800 project at Clover Hill for a drain that was so stopped up that we could not do it with our equipment, so we had to hire a contractor to come in and take care of that. First Step Pavement Management Techniques, we demonstrated that in one of our last meetings, but we paid a payment of that $5,600 to them this month also. There wasn't anything significant in drug fund. The tourism fund, I just wanted to point out the other side of that entry, the $35,000 for high mass lighting where it came out of the tourism fund to go back to the general fund. The library report is there. And the home grant, we finally made the final payment on the home grant, $1,800 to Thompson Backhoe Service. On June 8th, we are going to get honored at the East Tennessee Development District annual conference for that project, so we'll be speaking at their conference in September about that. LEA had nothing significant. In solid waste, the garbage contract is $23,873.44 to Waste Connections for garbage pickup for the month. And the only thing in the ECD fund at the end of that page is interest, so we made $81 on the ECD fund of interest. In the COVID fund at the very end, because of the balance that we're carrying in the COVID fund, that fund 311, we made $12,371.74 of interest for the months of May and June. So on that COVID funding, we are earning quite a bit of interest, and I'm keeping that separately in that same account just so we can know what we made off that money. It can be spent on any general government purpose, whatever that interest ends up being, but I just thought we might want to track how much we earned off of that COVID money, so it's being kept separate. Any questions?
There was a payment in there about the marketplace, fencing, stuff.
Are you asking if we're going to get a strike too, or? The fence, okay. So we were able to pay the deposit out of last year's budget. I don't think we're going to be able to pay, because they're not going to actually get the fencing done until August. It'll be this little before it's done. So we'll probably end up having to pay the second half of that out of this year's economic development budget. I talked to him on Thursday of last week, maybe. He still did not have a status on when they were going to deliver the materials. So he's still waiting to hear back. They've been on order for about 8 weeks now, so. No good, clear answer. Anything else?
We do have an order.
It's ordered.
Okay, what's pleasure of the minutes?
For approval of distributions for the month of June.
I'll second that.
Any more discussion? All right, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed likewise, motion does carry. We have no one who has requested to make a public hearing comment, so we'll move on to our next item, which is some special guests and visitors here with us. First of all, me as mayor, and I'm sure the city council would like to congratulate you guys on a great season. It has truly been great. And my understanding is, Kevin, am I right that there's no other town that's had 2 World Series winners in 2 different age categories?
Same year, that's miles.
Yeah, that's my understanding too. And we are really proud, and we know you did Sweetwater proud too. And we want to say thank you for your participation. And I want to call up the AAA 9 and 10-year-old. Is that correct? And then we've got another team that's 11 and 12. Okay. So would the AAA 9 and 10-year-old come forward? What do you say, let's give them a big hand. Who's the pitcher? You the pitcher? Who's the other pitcher? Okay. Couple of them not here. We've got a little gift for you here from Sweetwater Creamer. You take that down there and show that to them. I believe there's two there.
Yeah.
Just one? Feels like two, don't it? There you go. And when you go down there, you give them this, and you're going to get a nice ice cream compliment from the city. There's two there. Okay. Coach, get one?
Yes.
Huh? I tell you, we don't want to leave out the coaches. So many times we overlook the coaches, the hard work and the dedication that they give these kids. And we appreciate our coaches very, very much. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, sir, for teaching these boys. Did you have any trouble out of any of them?
Not a bit. They're pretty easy to work with. So
That's good.
they're good kids.
They look good.
They're just as good a kids as they are ball players.
The thing about it is, look what a feeder program we've got coming up to high school. That's important too. Thank you very much, guys. Now we'll have the 10 and 11-year-olds. 11 and 12. 11 and 12. You got somebody who's not coming? Coach Kurt back there. Let's go, Coach. Get up here. Come on, Coach. This is going to make the New York Times. Look at this guy compared to me. Who's the pitcher? Who's the pitcher?
We got several over here. These two, Brody, there's several pitchers here, Jed.
Y'all did a sprout like the other group did. Thank you, coaches, for all the time that you put into this. We appreciate you very, very much. You did Sweetwater proud. So I want to give you one gift, sir. You guys, each one of you, take these down there and get you a nice ice cream.
I've got forwarded on.
Okay.
Pass those out.
Yeah, we got a few.
Again, we want to say congratulations. We are extremely proud of you. We followed you. Most of Sweetwater followed you, I think, through the whole season. And y'all are just did us proud. So thank you guys very much. Thank you. Now, I will say this, if y'all need to leave, you're welcome to leave. Some of you might want to leave or stay here for the meeting. It should be over with by 9, 10 o'clock. Bye, guys.
Get on in front of the camera there, you're on Facebook. Get on Facebook Live.
I made jet lag.
Where's the
So you got, that's right. Hey, say something to the Facebook Live world there.
The other way around, though.
We've had, and I'm one, I'm losing my hearing. When you talk, put the microphone on, talk in the mic, so especially too bad. Okay. All right, we have some other special guests here with us today. It's our local Sweetwater Running Club, Ms. Jacqueline Cleveland and Ms. Shannon Davison, the coach of the Run Sweet Elite. I'll give you ladies the floor.
Good evening. Thank you all for having us this evening. So we run Sweet Elite. It's a local running club, and we have a passion for community of Sweetwater and for running and fitness. So we offer free group runs, youth clinics. Shannon is our elementary school cross-country coach, and we are here tonight to request permission to host 2 races. We love how well you guys run our town's festival, so kudos to you all, and we would love to host a race in our May 2024 festival and our November 2024 festival, with your permission.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Shannon, you got anything you want to add to
I
it?
mean, she did awesome. What else am I gonna say?
Can we vote on that now and get it over with? Let's go ahead and vote on it. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made second. Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise. You got it.
Thank you very much.
We have a request from Fresh Start Ministries to use the bandstand for a charity concert. Mike, you want to stand up and give us a description of what you want to do?
Yes, sir. October the 7th, we would request to be able to use the bandstand at the Duck Park for just a community benefit concert for Fresh Start. Not just to help raise some more funds, but raise awareness of what we're trying to do for the community. And like I said, we're going to have some Christian artists local come in, several different groups. We're going to hopefully get together and just probably have some vending, just like one vendor will be doing the quesadillas, some concert singing, and that's basically it. So we're just asking if we can have y'all's permission to use the bandstand.
Okay.
Do you guys have insurance for the bandstand?
We do, and I can bring that beforehand, let y'all have it. We have liability insurance, and we are a 501c3.
I saw where you filled out the paperwork, so it looks good.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Do I hear a motion?
So moved. Second.
Motion's made second. In discussion? If not, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise. You got it, Mike.
Thank y'all very much.
Okay. We have no old business, but we do have some new business. We have a final amendment to the budget we just completed. Jessica, you want to review the ordinance?
I will. Okay, so I say this every year when we're amending this budget. We don't quite have, you think we might have everything posted, Sonia said? So it might not change any before now and second reading, but typically you're gonna see changes between now and second reading. Just because you see a line item on here that's happened to be amended, it means that one particular thing went over budget, but that does not mean that the bottom line budget went over budget. So you can see I amended a few of the revenues. I just wanted to show you, we ended up having $404,000 more in local option sales tax than what we had budgeted last year. We've also earned a lot more interest than what we had budgeted for. $128,000 is estimated by the end of the year in extra interest earned. So that was our additional revenue that we kind of weren't expecting. For home grant, that $43,000 was a transfer that we made from general fund because the project did go over what the budgeted grant amount was. We decided to spend some of the COVID funding on that, so you'll see that money came into the home grant as a revenue source. from COVID money. The rest of these are general fund expenditures. There's a small one in the drug fund, a couple in tourism, mostly that mural in tourism. We did an extra mural last year because we got a mural grant, so we did receive some mural grant revenue to offset the cost of that mural. And we, again, that transfer on the home grant coincides with the revenue is over here on general fund. So those are the amendments. For the most part, the departments did a very good job of staying within their budget. We did have to amend some of the lines for utilities, the street lighting. We did do a project downtown for flowers and topiaries, and that caused the landscaping budget to go over budget. So that was not anything that Eric and the street department did. That was stuff that we just decided to do downtown that had an extra expense with it. The train car grant, it wasn't that much over budget. It was a little over budget, but it didn't go that much over budget. The reason the amendments for $55,000 is because we never really know when we start the budget which budget year it's going to fall into. So that grant went over 3 years. So we just kind of take a guess about how much is going to be spent each year. And that one was one that a lot got done at the end. Thank you, Street Department, for taking care of that. So a lot more came out of this final budget than last year's budget. So we didn't have an amendment last year, but we do this year. The total project on that train car grant ended up going about $20,000 over budget. Considering we started that before COVID and all of our supplies and our contractors and everything was so much more than initially what we thought it would be. Thank goodness the street department guys were able to figure out how to do that project, or I don't know that we could have gotten it done inside the time frame or for the grant budget. But parks definitely had some budget issues. One of those I wanted to point out though was the insurance recovery. We had a vehicle wreck that insurance ended up covering. So that $13,000 that we had to spend, you still have to spend it out of an expense line, even if you have revenue to offset it. And so that one was, we were reimbursed by insurance for that cost. But overtime and salary, part of that is due to the litter control person. We ended up moving her into a position for Parks and Rec, which left a vacancy in the litter control now. But it also did change some of the salary line items too, so we had to do amendments on those. Does anybody have any questions about anything that's on here so far? And again, we still have to do a public hearing and a second reading on this in the August 28th. We'll have to do that as a called meeting.
So
And that'll
with
be
the
the final.
interest and carryover, it's about $500,000 added back to the budget.
It'll end up being around $400,000 from what we're looking at right now. We're gonna put an extra $400,000 into fund balance at the end of this fiscal year. Because we had some things cost more and some things, yeah, we had more grant revenue on, or we had more revenue on. It looks right now, and I'll have a better report on this August 28th when we actually close the books. It looks right now that we had about $400,000 more in general fund revenue than we did expenses.
Okay, any questions, any comments? I want to thank the commissioners, department heads for taking care of us. That's important. Is there a motion to approve budget ordinance number 1023 to amend the budget for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2023 on first reading?
So moved. Second.
Made and second. Roll call vote.
Commissioner Hughes. Commissioner Mosier.
Aye.
Commissioner Richardson.
Aye.
Commissioner Jinks. Commissioner Spence.
Okay. Commissioner Jinks was appointed to the library board, and a question has come up. I think the question.
All right, so I'm also on the Library Foundation, and I've been told that it is conflict of interest for me to be on both. So I need to move off of being the commissioner of the library so that I can continue to be on the Library Foundation.
Okay. So we need to appoint somebody for the position here.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Joanne has also submitted an update job description in your packet. The board, however, does not approve job description changes. But do you want to review this?
I just simply wanted to make my job description a little bit longer, add a few of the soft skills to it, such as like being able to do teamwork and high quality work and attendance and different things like that. So I'm just expanding not necessarily the duties and the responsibilities, but more of the character that you want in the people that work for you. So that's all I'm doing in this.
Okay.
That job description.
Huh?
That job description's in the packet.
Okay.
That they do need to vote.
So do we need to vote on this or leave it up to, okay. Do I hear a motion and a second?
Well, I'm motion.
Second.
Okay. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed likewise, motion carries. Commissioner Hughes and Commissioner Jinks talked last week about the litter control position. The employee formerly in litter control has been promoted to parks employee as full-time park employee. So the litter control position is now vacant. Commissioner Jinks has agreed to move this position back to the street department so they can coordinate with mowers. I think that's a great idea because so many times you see all that paper and stuff in the road that's the mower has thrown out there. So this would need to be put into a budget amendment to move departments, but is everyone okay with this vacant position moving to the street department? Anybody have any objection to it? Looks like you've got a litter.
Okay, can I add on to that then?
Yeah.
Okay, I would like, if the commissioners are okay with that, I'd like to hire John Alexander as my litter control. I'd like to start him at $18 an hour if possible. I do want him to go to the jail and do the training in order to get inmates, even though currently nobody in my department really feels comfortable using inmates, but we do want to have that capability for things like before and after festivals, that we might need a mass amount of litter control done at one time. That would be too much for a single one person. But overall, we have no intentions of using inmates at this time, but we do want that to be a
Would
possibility.
this be full-time?
Yes.
Full-time.
It'll be
And just as a note, this was advertised, John Alexander had applied for one of the street vacancies, so this has already been advertised publicly. It was just an extra application from what.
So it will be, he will be, David will be over
Yes.
than you. Okay.
Yep.
Is that JT?
Yes, JT is his nickname, I guess, John Alexander, yes.
His name was John Alexander?
John Alexander,
Okay.
yes.
Do you make that in the form of a motion to hire?
Yes, please.
Do I have a motion made, second, any discussion? If not, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise, motion does carry. In our workshop, we discussed the need for a survey of the library and downtown properties we place to acquire, we have plans to acquire. We want to authorize the survey. Is there a motion to authorize this survey we talked about in the workshop?
Make a motion for approval of getting these properties surveyed.
Motion made, second, any more discussion?
That includes everything we talked about in the workshop.
Right, yeah. And I think John is coordinating that survey.
I did, I met with the surveyor after the workshop just to tell him exactly what we wanted, if it was approved. And he said that would be no problem, we could do all those in one big bundle.
Now, will this be put down on a plat? We'll have a plat for each.
Yes, they're boundary surveys, so should be relatively simple for him to just go and locate the boundary. They're not subdividing any of the property except for the one that we had asked to make the creek, the center of the creek, the property line.
And Eric from Sweetwater Utility Board did find some previously done surveys, so we've already sent that on to that surveyor so that we can incorporate it into what he's doing.
But the others were just locating the corner, just boundary surveys. The only one that would actually involve any subdividing of property is the utility board property that has the buildings on it that backs up to the creek.
Okay.
Has there been any discussion with other owner about willingness to do that?
I haven't yet, so I figured I'd wait till you authorize the survey and then reach out to him.
Okay, let's vote. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed likewise, motion does carry. Finally, the Main Street Board has voted to add the building on Oak Street, formerly the Divine Dentistry Office. The city will send out the letter requesting this property be added to the Main Street District. Remember, this is not a zoning change, it's just adding them to the Main Street District. I think everybody's aware of that. Do I hear a motion to put Scotty Divine's dentistry office into the Main Street properties?
Make a motion for the boundaries to be modified to include the property.
Second.
Motion made, second. Any discussion? I understand that this camp's going to put a store down there. It should be part of the Main Street program. That's good. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, likewise, motion does carry. Okay, Eddie, David, how was the storm damage this afternoon?
It seemed like it was quite a bit of damage. The guys are still out working now, clearing the roads.
Yeah, I had some damage up my place, man, I'm telling you, trees. Well, we were lucky. Loudon is still out of power. I'm out of power. Anybody else out of power?
We worked for a little bit. We worked for a little bit, but ours is all back on.
Oh, right back. I couldn't even shave.
Maybe
Between Long and Chasm and the big ones. Across the lake, yeah. Across the road.
Okay, John, what's going on in the street department? I mean, fire department.
Things going nice and quiet, other than today.
Got full staff and all that, everything's good?
Yeah. I'm gonna look.
Okay. Eddie?
Like I always tell you, Mayor, I'm just appreciative to work with these other guys in their departments, and they all come together and have the same goal in mind to get the job done. You know, like today, there was a lot of damage today. But when you got the fire department out there, and the street department, Parks and Rec, everybody codes jumping in, helping, it sure makes things a lot easier. You know, he's a fireman. I don't know if things don't ever work out for them in the fire world, they can get in the firewood cutting thing. They can run a chainsaw. They've got that down pat. But again, on a serious note, I do appreciate, I know Commissioner Stubbs said, we talk about how well it is seeing all the departments working together.
Chasing dogs,
Yeah.
all that.
Yeah, we had our first day of school back today, and hoping kids don't get spoiled thinking that's a full day today. They got out at 12:30, and I thought that was a good decision that the school board and the director made to get them out, because there was a big tree limb fell over on the playground on Broad Street. And it came down, and I saw Chris Letterman was over cutting it up, him and some of John's guys. So again, we just appreciate all the help we get from
John, tell us about Wendy's and Kentucky Fried Chicken. That's all I hear.
Yeah, Wendy's, hopefully tomorrow that building will start coming down. They did the asbestos removal over the weekend, so that's done. Sweetwater Utility Board was out there this morning, making sure everything was disconnected. Darryl Burnett was out there as well. I think he's overseeing the demolition of that building. Said that hopefully we get started on that in the morning. So hopefully that one will start coming down tomorrow. The Verizon building across 68, it's down now. It still has some scrap there on the side, some debris, but pretty much completely torn down now with Verizon. Hopefully BB&T will be pretty quick as far as being torn down. They should be good to go on everything. They just emailed the building permit application this afternoon. So once that's signed off on and they've made their fee, they're good to go. So that would hopefully we're going to see some stuff going up there pretty quickly. KFC, I spoke to them last week, and he did say that they recommitted. They kind of put that one on the back burner. They come out of the gates pretty fast, but put it on the back burner. Said that they had met last month and recommitted to get that project up and going before the end of the year. So that would
Before the end of the year?
Before the end of the year. Now, it won't be complete by the end. He just said we're going to be moving forward by the end of the year. So whatever that means, if they, start clearing the lot, doing some of the site prep.
Is there anything going back where the old Verizon building was torn down?
Yes, haven't seen a formal site plan yet, but do have a couple of businesses that they're planning to put in there. I think it's probably okay to say public knowledge, they shared it with me, and I think they probably shared it with the people that they bought the lot next to them, but well, maybe I shouldn't share that with you. But yes, it's a couple of local businesses that currently exist in town, just getting new buildings. And then as far as the housing front, I met this morning with Hector Jervillo, that's doing the next phase of Willow Creek. Met the surveyor out there as well. He's going to begin platting 12 lots so that they can start on a dozen new homes up there. The Planning Commission approved that a couple of months ago, so that should be getting started here pretty soon. It looks like the townhome that they're currently building, they've got it framed up and almost completely in the dry. So that was moving forward pretty quickly. Should be doing rough-in inspections on it the next week or so. Some housing coming pretty soon.
Good. Is housing, it's kind of spiked off quite a bit, hasn't it?
Well, depends. I mean, I'm not in the market, real estate market, but we've slowed down as far as permitting goes, but I think that has to do with the availability of buildable lots. Some of the subdivisions, like we said, Richmond Farms and what was left in Willow Creek, they've been pretty much bought up or built out at this point. So there wasn't a whole lot of other developments going on. So we're starting to see a lot of homes being flipped, a lot of these smaller, older homes being bought by flippers. So from out of town, some of them from in town, but renovating, remodeling those homes and putting them back on the market, either for rent or to sale. So the good side of that is some of these older homes are getting a facelift, which is good. But it's not new housing.
Okay, you had any lawn complaints?
Yeah, plenty of grass complaints. Rob was off last week on vacation, going to Ohio. But that's kind of his biggest obstacle right now. Grass is growing, and we get these rains, and then people say they can't mow, it's too wet. Grass gets knee high, and so it's a constant battle until grass quits growing. He'll be, policing that for the next month or two.
Okay. David, anything going on with you?
Not really. We're just trying to play catch up right now, so clean up storm drain, get the ditches flowing.
Sidewalks?
Yeah, it's a mess.
I will say that. I'll say that those dudes, they got out there and talked about High Street a couple of times, and they got on it. They cleaned those curb cuts and cleaned those drains out. So kudos to the street guys. They got after it the last couple of weeks. And then you heard John allude to it there. I was driving today out 322 and saw Chief Byram and Chief Anderson off in the weeds down there, and I thought they were looking for a body. I hit the brakes and rolled the window down. I said, Chief, y'all okay? I said, what's going on? He said, we've got a lost dog. Some old lady that had been hospitalized, and her dog got loose. So, fire chief, police chief down the weeds, something for dogs.
Did you find it?
Kudos to those guys.
He likes.
We even brought out a female, thinking he would come to a female.
We had Sarah come out and try to call it. I had him last night. I was out with him about 1:30 last night, and I thought I had him. Yeah.
Well, Charlie Fry's got a bounty out on a groundhog that's eating this week potatoes.
I'd have better luck with groundhog.
Okay. Are you allowed to talk about about the hearing that's coming up?
We've got hearing set. We've got a hearing set on both of the Chancery Court lawsuits on the TMG taxes on September 25th. Hopefully we'll get both of those knocked in the head then. Whenever we do, whether it's that day or if the chancellor's put down their order a few days or a couple of weeks after that, whenever that day comes, they'll have 30 days within which to appeal. And she's not done anything for the last year, more than a year, so hopefully she won't be able to find free legal representation and handle that for her.
After the September, after that hearing, that's our next step to go after whatever we're going to do. Is that right? Or was any questions about that? All right, anything else come before the board?
I'm going to comment on the promotion of
Kevin to assistant police chief. I think that is.
Get your mic on there if you don't mind.
I said, I want to comment on the promotion of Kevin to assistant police chief. I think that's going to do Sweetwater a lot of positive good for years to come. I love seeing the guys that have put in the time and the effort in their departments be able to work their way up and, if nothing else, carry on that pride for them that we all have for the city. So I appreciate that.
Okay. Good to have our Willow Creek visitors with us. Any damage down there today? Nothing good? All right. Okay, we're adjourned. Thank you. Eddie. Nice to see you.
Was it really?